There we are. Hey again, welcome to the Quickest Spine Show. Again, I've had a show for a long time, and I'm here with Reed Davis. I want to understand exactly what he does, how he helps us. The title of this podcast today is going to be "Tired of Being Sick and Tired," and understanding what's wrong with you. And really, nothing wrong with you. What's wrong with your overall body right now? So, Reed Davis, as my topic goes through too, is here to help give you answers to the overall health that you deserve, that you're not getting from your medical doctor sometimes. Reed is the founder of Functional Diagnostic Nutrition, FDN, and has courses that has over 4,000 graduates in 50 countries that have gone through this course and successful to understand the material and get through that for one, too. Reed helps his graduates build successful private practices through functional lab testing and holistic care. His patients understand exactly how to change their nutrition and lifestyle to heal their own body for one, too. And overall, so beyond being a teacher, a practitioner, Reed Davis is also an author of The Gap: Simple Steps to Reclaim Your Health and Reverse Most Chronic Diseases. This book gives you the answers to true health recovery from chronic disease that your medical doctor, again, will not tell you sometimes. Let's interview Reed Davis. He's right next to me, obviously, right here. Understand his passion to help heal your body, my friends. All right. Reed, how are you, sir?
Fantastic, Dr. Tony. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
You have a great staff, so thanks for being on here. First talk today, my friend, is why you transition from saving the planet to saving people's lives.
Yeah, thanks for that. You're indicating my background was in environmental law, and I was air, birds, water, trees, bees. That was my concern. I love the planet. I love the environment. I love conservation. I grew up hunting and fishing way up in Canada, and so just love the world. And yet, when I got into it, and after some years, I started wondering about people. Like I see dead birds and trees and bees. Well, what about us? What about us? And this
Yeah.
started to haunt me. What about us? Because I was healthy. I didn't have a health problem, except for some sports injuries, some motorcycle accidents, and some dental work. So I'd taken care of my boo-boos,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd never really been to a physician for anything like chronic or degenerative or downward spiraling. And so I just switched jobs. I went and applied, and I got a job at a chiropractic wellness center.
Great.
And it was an amazing opportunity. I mean, just my whole life changed in a way that I didn't think could happen at that time. I was already in my 40s, and
Wow.
so yeah, I'd had two careers already. But then I was hired there to run the business and things like that. But um, I took a course in nutrition while there. The owner was getting her diplomat in nutrition, said I could go along and I'd
Nice.
become a certified nutritional therapist. Like, wow, that's good. She goes, not only that, but you can work on the patients of the clinic in between your classes. Now,
Wow.
hardly anyone gets an opportunity like that. So I started applying my education to the patients who are chiropractic patients, and we had other modalities. We had some acupuncture and some massage and some
Mm-hmm.
All the things that go along with it.
Well,
Other
it's a wellness center, basically, right? Not just chiropractic, wellness center.
wellness center with lots of things, but basically it was chiropractic. Everyone got an exam, X-rays, and if they needed it, or if it was appropriate, then chiropractic treatment. So I worked adjunctively to that. And by the way, I was trained in myofascial therapy and lots of things. So I was integral there. But what really changed everything, Dr. Tony, was when I started learning to run laboratory work.
Ah,
And who am I to run laboratory work? Well, had an important position in a wellness center. We had doctors there that I could under them I could run these labs. And now I know that anyone could do it. The way you could do labs today, anyone can run labs. It's what are
right.
you looking at? And here's the distinction that'll answer the question, the title, are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Well, everybody walking in the office was. They came in for neck pain, back pain, had an accident or something.
Yeah.
But turns out, well, they were also tired and fatigued and foggy thinking and overweight and um, chronic sort of downward spiraling things, a lot of inflammation. And so I started looking at that. So they're getting their adjustments,
Mm-hmm.
and I was also other therapies, modalities and things. But the lab work started to reveal to me, it was my area, what was really wrong. Like, what's wrong with me? Do you know what's wrong with me? Well, it turns out, yeah. And after 10 years, 10 years, and thousands of patients coming through, I recognized some patterns. And miraculously, it doesn't seem like anyone else was even looking for these patterns. Again, people came to us for alternative, pain and whatever.
Sure.
And I saw over that time period, and even till today, remember, I started, what I'm talking about, in 1999, last century.
Been a while.
It's been a while, and it's been an incredibly rewarding and wonderful journey. Um, and I had to look at that lab work not as a physician to diagnose and treat. You'll get this. You have to have a license to do that. Matter of fact, that's what, if you have a license, you have to do. But I didn't have to, I wasn't looking to diagnose something. I just want to know what's wrong. And I found a pattern in what ails most people that worked with just about every single person who was battling a downward spiral that no one else seemed to be able to solve. And I did that, and I came up with this HIDDEN, HIDDEN. I tested their hormones, their immune system, digestion, detoxification, energy production, and nervous system, which, by the way, fit perfectly in with their chiropractic care because we balance the autonomic, we balance the sympathetic with the parasympathetic. And so, oh my goodness, did we start having amazing revelations and discoveries around what's really wrong with people versus just, oh, it's your thyroid, here's some thyroid pills, or something like that. It's like really overall. So this entire constellation of healing opportunities was revealed through, over 10,000 clients that I ran labs on. I call them clients because, that's what we call our customers. Patients of the office. And not only that, and you'll love this because, basically was a CA, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of a chiropractic assistant on
by title, we got it.
Okay. On steroids, but without the steroids. And so 10 years is a long time to learn, to make mistakes, to make discoveries, to put a program together. And I knew from almost the very first day, as soon as I started taking nutrition classes, and by the way, I became a personal trainer, myofascial therapist, lots of things that I'm certified in now. But I knew that it wasn't coming in the office that was the entire solution. I would say, gosh, Mrs. Smith, you're doing a great job. We're seeing you 3 times a week, or maybe it's down to 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
But, let's talk about what you're doing at home. Back this up. The doctor can only do so much, and she'll do her part, but it's up to you to do the rest, and I can guide you. So that's when I came up with my other sort of well-known acronym or mnemonic. It's called DRESS, DRESS, Dress for Health Success. And that stands for diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, and supplementation. So I started refining that, DRESS, based on the lab work. So I was refining it for each individual based on the lab work. So we ran the HIDDEN testing. Really only requires 4 simple labs.
Got it.
Which you can do at home. There's one you might have to go get a blood draw, but the rest you do at home. And now we have all this data on you, the individual, along with your x-rays and range of motion and strength and all the other sort of objective things we had. And oh my goodness, people were just getting better. Our clinic got really well known. I personally became the busiest nutritionist in the country.
Wow.
And according to my vendors that, you order things through, so they go, who the hell are you? You do as much as any 5 other practitioners put together.
Wow.
Well, I just said I love doing it. I didn't know. I had no clue.
You almost you made your own system up that worked for you because you had enough sample size you had now the experience over 10 years, which people are thinking you're thinking outside the box, making it raw versus having to go to a book and follow this structured thing that really wasn't obviously working for people. And you found the secret.
I found some of them for sure, and they're to me they're now very obvious. And it was only after 10 years that I started
10 years.
teaching the
Hmm.
FDN course. I Everything I teach is based on experience and practical wisdom, if you want, but the experience is nothing. It's not just, oh, here's a new thing, try this. Well, there'll just be one more thing that didn't work. If
No.
you don't, if Yeah, if you don't get the objective, which because I know you take X-rays on every person. You have to have the objective as well as how the subjective. And
Well, and when you say subjective, it's more of the experience. In my mind, experience of someone that's gone through it, has been trained through it. You said for now over 10 years, and now trained other people to do the same thing. You're saving them reinventing the wheel, which is phenomenal. I've been in practice for 20 years, take X-rays for 20 years, and experience and knowledge add together. That becomes your expert.
you're doing amazing work, and uh, I still see chiropractic. And I've kind of got a really well used body, though, Tony. You wouldn't, my X-rays. I had one chiropractor look, and he just said, "You're effed," you know,
Not
because
A, you're effed. Got it.
yeah, like you're messed up, man,
How
because
you
of it. I mean, motorcycle accidents, jujitsu, diving, and surfing and football, and so all this stuff is really, the compression, the discs, the alignment, the osteophytes, the occlusions. I mean, just it's really. So I've had to go in now for stem cells and PRP and lots of
want.
that
You're
stuff.
more aggressive care at that point too.
Yeah,
Because you want to stay healthy. That's the biggest thing. You want to stay healthy naturally, correct?
yeah, no surgery, no
Yes.
surgery, no pills. Yeah,
Yes.
other
And
than nutritional supplements, of course.
that's why you're staying active, you're staying healthy, you're doing whatever you can to have longevity and a good quality of life. That's what people really want, right? That's what it is they don't want to live in that dull, if you want to call it that dull feeling all the time. The problem is they can't get help from their medical doctor. They can't get help from their health insurance, which they pay for either individually or through their company or through the government. That doesn't really help them. So you're giving them an avenue to have a better quality of life and see exactly what it is to have energy and feel good.
That's a really good point. Insurance is great to have if you have a catastrophic
Mhm,
event,
mhm,
uh, God forbid, heart attack, car accident, whatever it might be.
mhm.
Well, that's going to be a one heck of a bill to pay, and you want insurance for that. But insurance just doesn't cover the things that would really prevent. I mean, there's some insurance now covers some prevention, but not enough, not even close to enough.
They're
So
being forced to based on demand. That's all it comes down to. That's all they're being forced to. But
yeah,
a lot of it is they're being forced to or told to versus we're in the wellness category of nothing's broken, nothing's torn, you don't have cancer. Let's get you to a better state of health. And that requires, and people I think understand now, out of pocket care. If you want to get health, you have to pay out of pocket for your supplements, for your, if you want to call it your membership at a practice, and getting the right assessment by the experts.
yeah, it's a personal investment,
Yes.
and but what better money could you spend than on your health? You
Mm-hmm.
cannot be happy if you're not healthy. I've sort of tried it.
You've experimented all of it, Reed. That's the biggest thing, right? You've done all the work. So why
Yeah,
won't someone reinvent the wheel? Just ask you how to go about it.
yeah. Well, it's a real blessing to have the experience I have, but more than that, now I mentioned the first 10 years of all the discoveries and program development, and happy customers.
Yes.
Then finding out, like, kind of out of the blue, Reed, who the hell are you? How do you do so well? And I don't know. I just do it because I want to have the best wellness center in the country. I want to
You're
be
seeing
the
the small
a
picture,
success.
though. They're seeing the big picture of how is this guy different than everybody else?
So I started teaching, and
Good.
I have never looked back. We've trained over 4,000 people in 50 different countries. Admittedly, there's only one in Mauritius,
What's
but
that?
I didn't even know that was a country.
What is
You
that?
know,
Where is
so
it?
yeah, it's in the middle of the South Atlantic. Um,
Wow.
uh, pretty
Huh.
sure I couldn't find it on a map. But what I'm saying is, even though we're in 50 countries, it's U.S., Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom for the most part. But we're doing amazing things, and my graduates can go work for a chiropractor. They can start their own business as a health coach kind
Mhm.
of person, um, counselor or consultant, however you want to put it.
Sure.
I've studied the business end of it a lot so that my graduates actually do very well for themselves, but only if they're helping others. That's the beauty of it. You
Mhm.
want to make money? Help some people. They'll pay you and they'll be happy about it. And they'll refer all their friends and family and coworkers to you if you just do a good job. So to do a good job, you need a system. You can't be just, you know,
You can't wing it.
whack-a-mole. You can't use Dr. Google.
Yeah.
Or Dr. AI now.
Yeah.
That's an amazing thing. How do you feel about that AI thing?
It's not a bad thing, I don't think, for normal things. The problem is when a doctor uses AI to diagnose something, the doctor is still liable. So are you going to trust your computer for all your information or use your own brick knowledge, your experience to focus on that and maybe use AI as a backup to kind of verify things? It's a long way to go. It hasn't, if anything, it's done really well, hasn't taken that dip yet. Once it takes a dip, we'll kind of see what still lasts, what's still standing like anything else, and then we'll know what's going to happen with it.
I'm with you 100%. I'm glad to hear you say that we can't use it to diagnose or treat. Although I don't do that anyway. But it is a tremendous amount of research thrown at your fingertips and amazing amounts of research. The only thing that bothers me is what they might not be telling you because they can completely suppress what they don't want you to know. And so that would, I don't mean to, that's not political. That's
Yeah,
just a fact. So other than that, I just thought I'd throw it out there.
it's still
You
human
can't
control.
depend on it to make all your decisions for you.
And like you said, it's subjective at some point because it's still human controlled what information you're going to like let out. So there's that component of what's the knowledge, who's gonna filter knowledge for you, what's your interpretation knowledge. Just like anything, it's how it's marketed per se. So I don't worry about it now. It's like the tech bubble, right? How this in 2002, 2000, whatever it was, things tech's going crazy. It's gonna be the next thing, and all of a sudden it tanks, and then we
Yeah.
see what survives. Amazon's still there, Google's still there. So then that becomes the basis of now the foundation. Once things crash, what's the foundation left? So I'm waiting for that cycle then. But again, it doesn't affect me or you because we deal with people directly.
Yeah.
We're direct contact with people in our hearts and minds. So we want to get them to understand that directly.
Exactly. What comes to my mind is this idea of a cycle of trial and error.
Yes.
So if
Yeah.
the title of today's show, Tired of Being Sick and Tired, well, you could say join the club. But what you're really in is a cycle of trial and error where you've been told by a physician perhaps nothing's wrong with you, your blood work looks normal,
Mhm.
it's all in your head, and here's your chill pill or something. Or maybe they did give you a diagnosis, say hypothyroidism or
Yes.
IBD or whatever it is, chronic fatigue syndrome. That's only one thing. That's only one area. That's probably their area of specialty, and they're good at like they kind of use an even lab work, even if they're running a test. Is what does it sound like when they walk in? A cluster of symptoms sounds like this, so they test for that.
Mhm.
Yep, pat myself on the back, found your
Boom.
problem,
Got it.
and they treat that one thing, but it's not the whole person. So they get limited results. So that's why you're tired of being sick and tired, and why you are in what I call the cycle of trial and error. Well, yeah, doctor, thanks for that, but it's not the answer I'm looking for. I So they go try things and try things, and there's everybody out there, all kinds of well-intentioned therapists with this modality or that modality. Try me, try me. Well, that's perpetuating the cycle. And so does AI and these Dr. Google. It just gives you more ideas of what you could try and not necessarily succeed.
You're
So
almost looking
that's
at someone's portion of their body, physical or mental, not the whole picture. And,
yeah,
and how do
exactly.
you look at the whole picture, someone's well-being as the condition, and then you can see from there, then trickle down to what this is and what this is, and then use that, but still stay at that person's whole well-being, the bird's eye view, and how the person responds and how their quality of life's improving. Versus, like you had mentioned, what I worry about when someone sees a doctor, even sometimes chiropractors too, it's they don't like to use the words "I don't know" or "I'm
Mm.
not sure."
Yeah,
They
they
want to
made
give
a
you
new word up for it.
yeah, they may not be the right answer, but they want to give you an answer so you leave at least with an answer. But the problem is you haven't fixed the person's health. And I think that's the biggest concern with what has allowed us as chiropractors, as you as nutritionists too, to be part of the high demand of what people actually want to get healthy.
You're exactly right. Matter of fact, medical doctors have a term for I don't know. They call it idiopathic.
True.
That's
There.
their uh, meaningless term for I don't. It's as good as if you hear the word, well, Mrs. Smith, this is idiopathic. This is an idiopathic condition. He
Yeah.
might as well just shrug his shoulders, go,
Yeah.
I don't know. And I've always called BS on that because, well, there is a cause. There has to have been a causal
Yeah.
factor. Or here's what I discovered, Dr. Tony, is that there are usually multiple causal factors that can be identified. And here's something that almost no one will talk about. They're having an effect on each other. You could
Mhm.
have these three causal factors, the hormones, the immune system, digestion, none of them are working right, and they're affecting each other, which aren't singly measurable sometimes. So who's really taking that bird's eye view, like you said, and maintaining it throughout the process? Because physicians are trained to zero in. Oh well, I'm a gastroenterologist. I've done all I can for you. For
Yeah.
that, you're gonna have to go see an endocrinologist, and you get bounced over there. And then he has a new diagnosis. Oh yeah, it's low testosterone or whatever the heck they
Yeah.
say. And they can fix it. And, oh, for that other part, oh no, you're gonna have to go see a psychiatrist for that. You know. So no. So who is sitting in the driver's seat?
Mhm.
It really should be the person.
Mhm.
To the audience, I would say you ought to be in control of your own health and use people like me and Dr. Tony to uh, fit into a holistic program. So I have a chiropractor, I have an acupuncturist, I don't have a nutritionist because I'm supposed to be one.
Yeah. Look in the mirror. Look in the
although,
mirror.
uh,
That's what.
although my wife does a really good job at it, being my nutritionist and supplement consultant, and all this. So, but it starts with you taking that control. And from day one, again, I'll tell you, when I first started at the office, it blew my mind that people had been to 6 or 8 or 10 different practitioners and weren't better yet. And remember, I didn't have any health problems.
Yeah.
I've been for shoulder, neck, and back, but never for something chronic, degenerative, downward spiraling kind of thing. Chronic, I didn't have chronic fatigue or
No.
irritable bowel or any of these things. So when people say to me, I've been to 6 or 8 or 10 practitioners and weren't better yet, my alarm bells went. I just said, well, that's a ripoff. Like why are you putting your hand? Number one, that doesn't seem right to me. Maybe not a ripoff. They might be trying real hard, but they're not getting fixed. And so that had to stop. I had to find a way.
Well, it's something where
And
it's
here,
not built on a meritocracy. It's built on I tried, so pay your copay. I tried, pay your deductible. It's like
yeah,
we didn't do anything. Right? I have people that come in there upset with a doctor. I go, did you ask for your copay back? He said, I don't want to pay today because you didn't give me any advice. But people, I think some people will. They're open. The trust is almost built in as a default to trust your medical doctor. But the problem is once people wake up and see these podcasts and see your material too, Reed Davis allows them to really understand, hey, there's a different way. There's a different way to actually look at my life, a different way. And at that point, I can, like you said, you take control of your life, be proactive, so you become the advocate for yourself.
great word, advocacy. I hear it a lot these days. It's worked into today's terminology about being your own best advocate.
Mhm.
Just like what you would do for your children, there's almost no limit to it, right?
Yeah.
Like if it was your kids, some people like this with their dogs and cats. You're
A
like,
lot of people are. A
they'll
lot of people
spend anything. Oh yeah, every single sort. But when it comes to themselves, they're like, man, I'm okay. I can live with. No, you can't. You will end up paying the piper the longer you let it go on.
Yeah, this
And
limp's okay. I get there eventually. This limp's okay. I just walk in a circle. I'm fine. And
I
that's
like
why
that one.
the same thing I tell patients: you're your best doctor, but you have to get the right information to make the right self. I want to call it self-diagnosis for your health because you have common sense. You know what it is. So
Yeah.
using testing, using imaging, objective findings allows you to really understand what it is once you understand what those findings mean. So, Doc, walk me through what is the testing you normally do with your patients or have your students do with their patients clients also.
Wait, ask that again. What?
So what type of testing do you do
Okay.
for people looking for help either through you or through your students?
So the what I teach and therefore what my graduates do, they
Hmm.
run a program. They're not going to just pick and choose a lab based on your symptoms. If you
Good.
go in with a certain set of symptoms, a lot of practitioners, we call that the sounds like method. Well, it sounds
Yeah.
like thyroid. God forbid you test the thyroid and get something, like, oh, pat myself on the back. I found your problem. It's never just that. So we look for a cluster, an entire constellation, if you will, of
Good.
healing. And we don't say diagnosis, we say healing opportunities. Part of today's title is What's Wrong with Me? Do you know what's wrong with me? Yes. The term I've come up with is metabolic chaos
Got it. Okay.
because it defines there's five different, sometimes we find 10 different healing opportunities, something that can be improved inside the way it's functioning. There's a pattern: hormone, immune, digestion, detoxification, energy production, nervous system, hidden. There's also oxidative stress, there's other, but hidden's a mouthful. So we're going to at least identify some healing opportunities. And we're not going to really care what the symptoms are. We're just say, well, here's what's going on. And those symptoms, directly or indirectly, are related, they're associated. But the downward spirals, the metabolic that's why I call it chaos, because remember, these causal factors have an effect on each other, and it's hard to measure it all.
Mhm.
So it's chaotic, it's metabolic chaos. That's a phrase that I coined, and it explains everything perfectly. My graduates, as they're going through our program, they run all the labs on themselves. And
Good.
Tony, the question, answer your question, is hormone, immune, digestion, detoxification at a minimum. That's some saliva, urine, blood, and stool. If you include food sensitivities, you got to run the blood test. So we look at these healing opportunities, and then do we pick one thing to work on? No. We go, let's work on every cell, tissue, organ, every system at once, the entire organism at once. That's why we call it holistic, because it really does address every cell. So we're not practicing medicine like a physician. You can't get in any trouble because you're not diagnosing. Just
Yep.
saying, hey, Mrs. Smith, your hormones are out of balance, your immune system's overactive or under, your digestion isn't breaking down, absorbing food properly, and your liver is congested, meaning, you're not detoxifying very well. Well, there's no medical diagnosis in that. Matter of fact, remember, these people have been told nothing's wrong with them.
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
There is no well, if there's no medical diagnosis, then hey, I'm just kind of helping that person out. This is self-testing. I personally don't order the labs except as a service to get them the kits in their hands.
Got it.
So most of this is at home, and it's saliva, urine, blood, stool for hormone, immune, digestion, detoxification, and food sensitivities. And that, by the way, includes looking for at the microbiome. Uh, I could go into what the actual measurements, what
Sure.
we're measuring, the analytes, but it doesn't do this audience much good to hear big fancy words.
Yeah,
We're
I think
checking out how you're functioning in these critical areas, which is a pattern that was revealed to me over the years. Everyone coming in didn't seem to matter what their problems were. If they were chronic degenerative downward spiraling problems, and they'd been told not much, we can't see anything in your blood work or very little, one little thing,
yeah,
and here's the pills. Well, you got to take the step back, look at that entire constellation. And then once you identify, here's what's going on, guess what the client says? Your patients will go, oh my God, how come no one else figured this out? How come you're the first one that told me why I feel so crappy?
yeah.
Well, I can't answer that exactly, but at least we're here. We're on your side, and now the next question is, yes, how come no one else figured this out? Who knows? What do I do about it? That's where the
There
DREST
you
comes in. I
go.
found out that you can't treat one thing. You got to treat every cell, tissue, organ in the body simultaneously.
Mhm.
So with your correct diet, and we know how to determine what diet's right for you, the rest individualized because some people can't fall asleep, some people can't stay asleep, some people wake up too early, and so on,
Yeah,
stay up too late, whatever. Diet, rest, exercise goes without saying. I can't work out like I did even, like 30, 35 years ago. That workout right now would hurt me. So everybody's different on exercise. Stress reduction is the huge, Dr. Tony, because it involves so much good detective work. Is it mental emotional stress, like your job and your relationships and money? Is it physical? Me personally, it's mostly that aches and pains, old injuries from a well used body, just sports and motorcycles and dumb stuff.
yeah.
Um, then there's the chemical and biochemical stressors of the environment, which is where I started my whole career
There you
in
go.
helping, and I know what's out there and it's bad. It will kill you if you don't have all your defenses and things in place. The environment can kill you. Just
Well,
like
and
it,
you're educating all your clients to understand their look at your whole body's one is a big system, and you don't want to treat one part, and also everything else bleeds over here, and also you're just going back and forth, back and forth. With the treatments that you do offer, are they usually 3 months, 6 months, a year? What? How long does it take to kind of retest if
great.
that's what it is to see?
Well, that's a really good question. And I'll say that we do minimum 90-day programs because that's a nice bite-sized piece.
Mm-hmm.
And you could commit to that. Most people will commit to it. If I tried to tell you it's going to be 2 years before this clears up, that's a hard. So what they can't do is see that. So that's invisible. It's an invisible. We try to make it all visible. First, showing you the lab. We make the invisible visible by showing you the lab work, just like you
Good.
do, Dr. Tony. They've got neck pain, and they have no clue why. I don't know why. You show them an
Yeah.
X-ray that this is out of alignment. You just made the invisible visible. So all of our objective findings are the same. They're just making the invisible visible. Now that as you project into the future, in 90 days, what can we expect? Improvement. Guaranteed you're going to improve. What that's going to look like, maybe not so much. There could be another 90 days and another 90 days. Our real goal is to get them self-sufficient. This is a
Good.
self-directed program, which we might work through the relief phase. Hey, I feel better. Some correction, their digestion improved, their hormones got balanced. But as to maintenance, we want to teach you so much, so well that you maintain it yourself. And you might come in for an occasional tune-up, like with chiropractic or whatever it is needed. But we don't fractionate if at all possible.
Well, you're making some of their best doctor. You're helping educate them so they know how to treat their body and what to look for when their body's off. I mean, that's what every patient should look for their medical doctor. They just don't know the questions to ask. And I think you're really helping people not only save lives but also improve quality of life and longevity, so they understand. Yes, I may, and 3 months for me is minimum for any treatment plan for, especially when we talk about
Right.
someone's physiological health, because your body needs time to change, to adapt to a better state of health. It can't happen overnight, So when you're doing that,
Exactly.
that's minimum. And once you get there, how do you make? And if it's, and again, everyone's life is different, right? I'm realistic. I go, you have a stressful job, and you drive 3 hours a day for work. You're going to be different than
Wow.
someone who lives in the neighborhood
Hmm.
and works part time. The variables are different. So when Johnny comes, hey, help my girlfriend with one visit from her neck problem because she doesn't do a lot. You're traveling 4 days, 5 days a week. So it's simple to understand. I think that perspective is I'm different from everybody else. I treat my body different to understand how that's going to work for me versus my neighbor or my friend or my family member.
You're so right about the individuality, and there's a lot to unpack in what you just said. Um, chiropractors have to put their hands on people to help them,
Mhm.
and that's something I can't do. That's why we'd make a great team.
Yes.
Because I can look at other objective findings and things. And by the way, this could be done out of any chiropractic office. I think they should all hire two of my graduates to run the lab work and the underlying causes and conditions work hand in hand with the physical, the manipulations and things like that, because people need both. And all I did is work hard alongside chiropractic to try to, well, what else is wrong? What else can we do here? Well, thank goodness there are these. They're called functional laboratory work. We're not running standard CBC chem panels. That's the thing your physician looked at and said nothing's wrong with you.
Hmm.
That's something that's way out of range. It's like it doesn't count, right? Well, that's kind of like not true. It's true from his perspective because he's looking to diagnose. We're not. We're just looking for what could be improved, and
Hmm.
that's the difference. And it just goes so hand in hand with a hands-on type of profession like yours,
Well,
and even acupuncturists too. They've done well with FDN.
it's the same perspective of getting someone's wellness better. Do some chiropractors go through a program too and then incorporate that into their practice for private practice also?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we've had lots of chiropractors, but also their staff.
Good.
Like because remember, I was a CA.
Hmm.
That's what I started. Just a chiropractic. I don't want to say just, but I was a
Yeah.
chiropractic assistant. So I was doing again the myofascial heat packs, walking them back. Listen, I handled everything in the office. I did insurance billing on weekends. Like it was that kind of a
You're more like an
cool.
office manager than not just a CA. CA clocks in, clocks out. You're more of an office
Yeah.
manager.
Well, we had an office manager, but I was the health director. I was above that. So it was. Um, I always walk in a place and act like I own it, and then if I hang out there long enough, I will. I'm so chasing. I'm just being. That's my character coming through. But
Nothing wrong
but
with
um but
you're
no,
very,
I always had fun doing
yes.
this. It was never work to me. I was a slave to it, but at the same time, I wouldn't have changed anything. When you get the results, and I know we're running out of time, but
Yeah, but
it
I want to hear the results though too. That's the
here.
next step is what
Listen,
results we get.
well, imagine, I'm a CA and I'm back in the day and I'm just learning to run these labs. And lady comes in, she's on about her eighth visit for chiropractic. Super nice
Okay.
lady, neck and back stuff going on. And I hadn't really developed my craft. I was just learning about the lab work. And
Yeah.
she was really looking sad. I'll make this quick. She looked
Yeah.
really sad one day coming in. Hey, what's wrong? Oh, it's this weight. I'm 40 pounds overweight and I hate it. It's really frustrating. And, and I was about to go, well, let's do something about it. No, she wasn't hearing it that deep. And she was just down. She goes, and reading, I went to my doctor the other day who's got me on this medication for the hives. And
Wow.
that's why I'm so fat. It's the medication for the hives. And I've been on it for 2 years. And I'm like, wow, and she goes, and again, I wanted to say something, but she's like, and what's really frustrating, Reed, is I went there the other day and for a checkup, and I told him how frustrating it was being on the medication and being fat. And he said, according to her, lady, you can be fat or you can have the hives.
Wow.
And she goes, so now I'm starting to understand why she looks so sad. And she goes, and Reed, when I said that's very depressing, doctor, he said, I'll be happy to write your prescription for antidepressants.
Mm. So you're going down the rabbit hole, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and so now I knew why she was
Yeah.
her eyes were on the floor the whole time.
Of course.
But here's what I said. Well, first name.
Yeah.
Why didn't you ever try to find out why you get the hives? And her head snapped around so hard, Tony, I thought, well, she's not going to need her adjustment today. It was almost like, she looks at me, what? What do you mean find out what? I go, why don't we try to find out why you get the hives? I'm running all this lab work now and I'm learning this and that. She goes, count me in, and so skipping forward just a couple of weeks, we're showing her why she has the hives and she's getting off certain foods and personal care products, household cleaning products, kind of clean up her whole environment, including her food. And within 9 more days, she was off her medication. And she told her doctor, she said, I'm off the medication. And now, Reed, I've been going to the gym, working out to a sweat, and taking hot showers. She hadn't worked out to a sweat or taken a hot shower in 2 years because even on the meds, that gave her the hives.
Ah, the heat. Got it.
So when you are a practitioner and you experience that, you go, well, you feel almost as good as the client or patient who feels completely liberated. You're like, wow, I can't believe someone found out what was wrong with me.
Mm-hmm. You took a different perspective from one, which is great.
Well, just use different tools that are available to medical doctors, but they're not paid for by insurance. Therefore, they don't offer them. They give you what the insurance company kind of dictates, frankly, and that's for the most part. Doesn't mean they don't want to help you. Doesn't mean they're not good people. They're going to rule out what they can rule out with the tools they have at hand, and that's a good thing. We never want to discount medical oversight, but when they tell you there's not, this is the only solution is this medication, and if it makes you fat and it depresses you, we'll just give you more medication. So stories like that. I'll tell you one more, and you can tell me.
Sure.
Okay. So again, early on, this is the heartfelt reward that keeps you going. Ladies coming in for chiropractic and some nutrition, and loving it, and says to me just kind of casually, like on the way out, as I'm walking her out, Reed, do you work with children? I'm like, well, I was a football coach for 14 years, and I raised 4 kids. So I said, yeah, I guess so. I've never had one as a client, but why? She goes, well, they're sending my kid home from school unless I put him on medication. Back in the day, she says, they want me to put him on Ritalin or they're going to kick him out of school. According to her, that's kind of the summation. I said, well, I don't know if I could help or not. She didn't like the joke. I said, well, do you think he has a Ritalin deficiency? And she didn't think it was funny. I thought it was funny, but
it's funny from a different perspective. You got to read the room, Reed. Got to read the room.
Lighten the room, but it didn't work. She says no. She got pissed. Like no, I don't want him on medication. I want to find out what's wrong. He was poking at the other kids, not paying attention, and disrupting the class.
Yeah,
I got to just tell you, we ran kind of the same kind of thing as with the first lady, but kids are so much easier to work with and they respond so much more quickly.
Yeah.
And so within 3 weeks of initiating a program, the principal of the school tracked me down, and this is good and bad. He said, Mr. Davis, I tracked you down because this kid is a new kid. He's paying attention. He's not disrupting the class. He doesn't poke around with the other kids anymore. I'm thinking happy. And he goes, what'd you put him on?
There we go. There's the answer.
So I'm like, oh my God, like just some magic pill. He thought it was another drug or something.
Yeah.
And I said, sir, what we did was we put him on a different lifestyle and life path.
Yeah.
We got him paying attention to what he eats and what time he goes to bed, and environmental things, and that's what we put him on, is a better life. Oh, that wasn't, he didn't want to hear about that too much. Just, well, good job, all right, thanks, bye. And I thought, well, man, maybe this could start a whole new school program or something, but they don't go for that there. So anyway, I just want to tell you how rewarding that was.
Good. It's
And the
when you work with
mom
the
was so
individual,
happy.
you see that individual improvement. It's hard to change the world, Reed, as you probably know by now. But can we change one person at a time and let them be the voice of what can help the next person?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I never met the young man. He was only 9. They wanted to put him on drugs at 9.
Yeah, even younger.
And
We're in California, Reed. That's like the number one thing. And put them on drugs. So at that point, they don't do anything, and they're considered low average for a reason. It's a cycle to get through.
Exactly, Doc. They get the behavior they want, and that's really what they care about with the drugs. Because when you're drugged, you behave differently, but it doesn't improve your health. As a matter of fact, we know where that goes long term. So I just want to say how rewarding that felt, and how happy the lady was. And this child, I never really met him, but that's the other beauty of our work, is we can do it distance through the at-home testing, just at-home testing, and then smart decisions and some discipline around what he had for breakfast. One last story. Sure. I had a lady who was a patient and client of mine coming in for chiropractic and nutrition care. And we were having the same discussion about kids, because she's the principal of 5 different Montessori schools. Okay. And each day of the week, she went to a different school. And so she was really high up there in this Montessori school system. And she started sitting in on parent-teacher conferences with disruptive children.
Okay.
So she started attending, Billy has to come in and get yelled at by the teacher and with his mom, whatever, is going on. She just sat there and observed and started asking one question of the kid: what do you have for breakfast?
Okay.
What percentage do you think was some sugary colored, highly colored?
Frosted Flakes, my favorite. Yeah.
It was 100%. 100% of the kids were eating crap, junk, things disrupting their nervous system, things throwing their digestive system out of balance, things that weren't nutritious even, other than the crap on the label.
Yeah.
And so, a lot of synthetic. So 100%. I just wanted to throw that in there, because that's under our control. Mm-hmm. We can decide what our children are having for breakfast.
And sometimes
parents, right? We're the boss.
Yeah, but parents just don't know sometimes. But having someone like you as the voice out there, and her do the experiment too, now they find the real reason behind it, not just medicate, not just drug. Find out why, like you said, lifestyle. Is there something, and it may affect Billy, may not affect Johnny. So you have to treat Billy like just Billy, and focus on just Billy, not what the world says should be or what good for everybody else. I think that's the problem too, is that we're not treating everyone individually as an individual person. We're trying to make everyone into one big group, maybe age group, whatever it is, and give them the same thing. No, it has to be individual per person.
That's amazing. Everyone knows there's no 2 fingerprints alike.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's no 2 livers alike either.
No.
From person to person, they are slightly different shapes, slightly different size, and they all have the same components, of course, but they're all different. And there's books written about it, good ones. If anyone wants to read a really good book on biochemical individuality, I would recommend William Wolcott's book called The Metabolic Typing Diet. Just grab it, read it. It's college level reading, but you'll get it, and you can apply some of these things to your life. I love to recommend a book or two. I'm not even recommending my own book. Just go buy Bill Wolcott's book, The Metabolic Typing Diet. Changed my life and thousands of lives across the world.
Well, and going to that to your book, The Gap: Simple Steps to Reclaim Your Health and Reverse Most Chronic Diseases, you authored or partly authored. What is that book about? How did that if you want to call it quantitate your teaching to now on paper of how to help people?
Well, I think it's a great book. I give it away all the time. And what I explain in that book is my HIDDEN investigation. And then the answer is DRESS. So find out what's wrong and fix it. Putting the power in the hands of the people. The other
Good.
chapters in the book are just different takes on a theme, because there's a gap between uh, wellness and medical. Medical and wellness are two different walls to put your ladder on. People coming to me originally, they had their ladder on the medical wall,
Mm-hmm.
but the medical world was saying you don't have a medical problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to get your ladder over onto the wellness wall, which is where you and I come in. Although you can diagnose, subluxations and things and other conditions, it's still in the wellness field more. It's more of a natural therapy and holistic approach. And so we just got to get people from off the medical wall. If they don't belong there, they belong
Yeah.
there, stay there,
Yes.
and you can do both. Or when you're done with that, come over to us. But get your ladder on the wellness wall. And so, um, my book, the chapter in that book that I wrote is about that, and I think the other chapters are very similar. But the person who constructed the book, Pantea Calhor, she was a graduate of mine
Wow. Wow.
and has gone on to just really want to spread the love and the work.
It's amazing how books really do give people a way to a platform to let other people know, not even around you, that can go somewhere. And I'll put the link on Amazon, on the Amazon link too, on the show notes. A lot of it is you get an idea of this is what the truth is. This is what is the truth. You've done the research, you've done the time. This is what it is. So if you want to get healthy and stay healthy, follow the truth.
And get
If
the
not,
data.
that's fine.
And there's data. It's
Yes,
the truth. I look at lab test results. They don't lie.
it's objective. It all comes down to. And ending the show too, Reed. This is September 2023. What is your next endeavor to help people globally, individually, student wise, or what's your next goal, sir?
Yeah, well, I've been threatening to do a lot of things.
I like the word threatening. I like it.
Hey, listen, I stopped practicing a long time ago because I love teaching so much, and
Good.
it was a way. The idea was that I could only help so many people out of my one wellness center in Southern California, and we were maxed out. And so everyone told me, well, Reed, if you want to help more people, train some people to do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we've exponentially increased the number of people that are being helped in the world. That's my goal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I quit practicing and I kind of miss it. So I've been threatening to start back into more of a private practice where I would build it up and hire my graduates to work there. Give them some work experience before they went out on their own health entrepreneur journey. So that's what we're threatening to do. It might be right now. I don't think there's anything there, but we're going to call it FDN self care.
Nice.
FDN stands for Functional Diagnostic Nutrition. That's what I called my first class, and I got stuck with it. They said you have to teach. So what am I going to call it? I didn't have a name for it. I just
Oh,
was
yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
I said, well, it's functional, it's diagnostic in nature, even though it's not a medical diagnosis. We use data, and then it's very nurturing or nutritious. So FDN, it became FDN, and
Nice.
now that's it.
But
Couldn't think of a longer name.
when
But
you're passionate about helping people, getting in there and getting your feet wet and dealing with people directly one on one with clients and patients allows you to really feed your own fire. And like you said, but teaching is the next level of being the leader to make more you around the world, which is phenomenal, which is some people will not do because it's too much work. You put the work in it, and now you're seeing the benefits. There's also people now mimicking what you're doing at a larger scale. So thank you.
yeah, thank you. You're doing amazing things, and we all just get to do what one person can do, and that's a lot,
Hmm.
way more than you might have believed. And And I'm okay with being an example. I don't want to be anyone's guru. Never use that term. I'm not a guru. And neither are you, is what I tell my students. I'm not a guru, and neither are you.
No.
Just a hard worker who loves helping people. And if you could learn how to, package and price your services, it's fee for service.
Yeah.
So it's fee for service, like a lawyer. You go to a lawyer, he says, give me $5,000 and I'll work on your case.
Yeah.
You go to an FDN practitioner and it's X amount. Everyone's got
Yeah.
their own price, but it's so that they can have the freedom to help you be their own boss. And it really works out well. So thank you for the opportunity to share.
No, and a lot of it, and my favorite, my wife asked me a couple weeks ago, "What's your favorite day of the week?" I go Monday. Why Monday? Because I go back to work and see all my patients. You gotta have that passion.
I have to. I mean, I can always keep talking. Everyone knows that about me, but my favorite day is Friday because that's the day since 2008, long time. I've been doing these Friday calls with my tribe. So I get on, now it's Zoom. We used to be on the phone, like landline,
Yeah.
and everyone would call in and you could hear the dogs and the kitchen sink and now it's Zoom calls. But I meet with my tribe every week since 2008. I have one call for the trainees who haven't graduated yet and one call for the graduates. And that's my favorite day of the week because I get to hang out with my people, and they like coming and picking the old man's brain.
Well, you hear their stories of success and sometimes not success, but you can feel you can be there with them. Get them to the next level, be their mentor.
Yeah, I love the technology. Not real good at it, but I'm getting there. Took me 5 minutes to get on your call here, but
that's okay. At least we're facing it. Not like we're not inside out or upside down, whatever. We're fine. We're good.
All right.
It's still communication, though. So how do you communicate to people the right message and get them the right information so they can learn it and then become, again, my word is become their best doctor and maintain that. That's great.
Cool.
All right, my friend. I think we're done for the show. Hang out for 1 second. For 5 seconds, I want you to see you smile because I'm going to use that as a thumbnail for the show. All right, my friend. Okay, hang out for a second. I'm gonna read the back show. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day. Hold on 1 second. Here we go.